tragic murders took 4 young, vibrant lives from our community. Nothing we do can bring them back.
The family of Kaylee Goncalves continues to speak out. I'm Tana Kelly here with this nonstop news update.
Nearly 7 weeks after the murder of 4 University of Idaho students, police have arrested a suspect.
Not a lot of information coming out in that afternoon press conference today, and we have learned that a lot of what is being held back is because of Idaho law and the fact that suspect BRYAN KOHBERGER is still in custody in Pennsylvania tonight.
Yeah, they helped and we worked together, but I didn't have the details like that, and I told them not to give me any details that could accidentally mess up the case. We had this audience, we had people that were willing to listen and willing to help and provide information that may have been missing.
This idea that they are going to be witnesses in this case is just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
Hi guys, Bullhorn Betty, happy Thursday. What a beautiful and gorgeous day. Many of you know that I have been really honing in on the latest hearings of BRYAN KOHBERGER to make sure that my audience has all the information they need in understanding this. BRYAN KOHBERGER is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, on November 13th in the early morning hours between 4 and 4:20 in the morning, just off campus of the University of Idaho. This is a really bizarre case, and I'm doing actually research on a completely different topic related to these hearings and related to Shannon Gray's statements that he should not be under the gag order and what the purpose of the gag order originally was. And it led me to looking into interviews, and I forgot all about this interview. And I truly believe this is the interview that made them modify the non-dissemination order to even be broader than it originally was on January 3rd, 2023. Check this interview out.
Good morning.
Good morning. Steve, were you there? Were you there in the courtroom?
I sure was. We expect to have somebody there every day.
What did you think when you saw the suspect, the man that might have killed or is allegedly killed your daughter?
Yeah, when I seen the defendant, I seen somebody that looked like he was overwhelmed and had no idea what was going on. He didn't look as confident as I thought he was going to be based off of his background.
Shannon, you had a chance to look at this affidavit as well. How airtight is the case as you look at it right now?
Well, I thought the affidavit was, a lot of information was in the affidavit. And it sounds like it's a solid case. You know, I was a former prosecutor myself, now a criminal defense attorney. I look at it in both ways. As a prosecution, it looks like it has a really great timeline. There's DNA evidence. There's the evidence from the cell phones and the automobile, and that he was aware of the location, coming back and forth. So there's a lot of good information there. And then when I flip over to the defense side, I still have a hard time understanding how they're going to get past the DNA evidence on the sheath.
It's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
A lot of times in cases that I've defended, sometimes you go in and you sit down and you talk with the defendant and say, hey, this is a great piece of evidence. How do we get past this piece of evidence? And so I think that's one of the most convincing pieces of the affidavit is the DNA evidence. So
sometimes, Steve, you have gut feelings. Did you think when you looked at this guy in the jumpsuit, you were looking at your daughter's killer?
Yeah.
It's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
So what I go with is I can make this man feel like he picked the very worst family to do that to. And every time he turns on the TV, he sees us. And every time he thinks something positive is happening in his case, he sees one of us communicating and he realizes he has zero hope.
It's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
That's what I hope, and that's what I can do.
It's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
And I want this case to get stronger and stronger to the point where he realizes that he's not going to be on the planet that long.
It's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
Wow, right? So this is why I think they did not want the Goncalves talking to the media, because he wants Bryan to see his face everywhere he goes. He does not want him to be able to turn on the news without seeing him. He wants to show the evidence on, across the internet to his audience. He wants his audience to be participating in this campaign of producing all of this to the public. And I think that is why when you heard Attorney Gray say this,
it's just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
He truly means that's what the prosecution is doing. And while I truly believe that Steve Goncalves was saying a lot of stuff, just heels of learning the man and the identity of the person that killed his daughter and his daughter's best friend, which he also considered a daughter. I think he said some words that concerned the defense and the prosecution. And so they approached the judge and broadened that non-dissemination order, or what we, the public, refer to as the gag order. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. Do you believe this is the video that really emboldened that non-dissemination order? I truly believe it is, and here's why. This happened January 4th, a day after the non-dissemination order went into place, and the fact that Shannon Gray, which I agree with, does not fall under Professional Rules of Conduct 3.6 and is the attorney for the victim's family. So this is why I believe that the prosecutor has labeled them a potential witness.
This idea that they are going to be witnesses in this case is just an attempt by the prosecution to shut them up as well as to shut me up.
Possibly, maybe, because that's the only other fail-safe they can grab him at if this Professional Regulations 3.6 doesn't attach to Shannon Gray. They need to find a way to make the Goncalves a witness somehow, and they can't make them a witness at trial. So again, do you believe it is to shut the Goncalves family up? I honestly believe it is. And unfortunately, that's not good enough to censor them against their First Amendment freedom of speech. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd love to find out how to support the Bullhorn Betty channel, maybe consider becoming a member. God bless you.